We've seen how aggressive Tim Wellens was getting in this break. He spent 10k out there, just 3 of them, 100% committed. And now he's in the break, he's quite reluctant to ride. At this stage, the fact that you've got the yellow jersey behind doesn't hail up a lot of significance. He's trying to get, oh, there's the choo-choo train. That's an indication that a group is working very well. He feels like he's part of a train and they're moving. But Tim Wellens doesn't want to ride here.
No, we saw him mucking around there with Caden Groves there until Caden Groves finally gave up and he just bridged across like that. And again, he's dangling off the back, giving himself a harder ride than needed at the back of this group as well.
I mean, he did it the other day, but he had a motive and a reason to be able to do that at the front of the race when he did it the other day. Today, as you said, Luke, the race situation is different now. You know, it's clear he's been going for the stage since the start. There's no excuse to use behind because there's nothing happening in the GC really at the pointy end of things.
No, it's a chalk and cheese situation. You have Chugay in the breakaway, 11th in GC, but at 34 minutes. He has zero danger to his teammate Poggy. And just briefly looking at the formation of this breakaway here, despite Quickstep and Tudor being in the break, I would say they're two of the teams who aren't confident in this breakaway. Considering this climb later on, 3.6k, 9%, it's great to have a guy in the breakaway. It's great to be present as a team, but you have to have a guy who can then go on and win the stage from that break. And I would say two teams out of this group who would be less confident would be Quickstep with Acorn and Tudor with Trentin on that difficult climb later.
Yeah, 3.5 kilometres at 9% there.
Sorry, and maybe Israel with Stuart.
Stuart here sitting on the back, just on the wheel of Tim Wellens. By the way, Peloton gap is growing again. The gap's going to fumble. We have been seeing more attacks from the Peloton behind. We haven't seen any of those recently. And this, I'll say it quietly, could be the moment that things start to settle down.
Just in the Peloton, one team that did look to be trying to continue to attack and active was UnoX. From the visuals, I could see the helicopter shots. I think they had 5 riders there in a group of around, give or take 50. 10% of that peloton that remains is made up of UnoX riders. They're not present in the breakaway, so they were one team who didn't seem happy with the situation.
This is the peloton. By the way, the viewers have spoken. They've gone for Wout van Aert today, 29% picking Wout van Aert, who's in this group with Jonas Vingegaard, travelling at 1 minute and 2 seconds. The viewers, unless there's another attack or two, might need to change things. This is Aramburu on the front, though, suggesting that Cofidis aren't happy. Well, Cofidis shouldn't be happy because they've been anonymous at this time.
Yeah, and this is a stage for Aramburu as well. You know, at stage, but you're not going to win it from the bunch.
And not by pulling the bunch back yourself.
Neither. So he really did have to pop himself in that break of the day. One that is slowly edging its way out.
Jonathan, is it the Lac d'Ile?
It is. It's another one of these beautiful glacial lakes. And as you can see, now that we've got a little bit less cloud cover and you get the skies shimmering down on them, it looks absolutely beautiful. I'm always fairly convinced that it's the host broadcaster playing in the noise of eagles and various things in the background. Did you just hear one there?
Yes.
Yeah.
We get the bells when they go through and past churches. We have the cows running in the fields. I want to know whose job it is, and are they sat there all day with a little cow button they have to press or something like that?
I mean, it's a good question. It's one that we can pose.
Carlton's appeared and he's nodding.
Yeah, Carlton knows. He knows it all.
I tell you what then, with 106 Ks to go, I'll put it over to Carlton to explain and talk us through this move. Yet again, it looks like Dylan turns, Carlton.
Oh, it's fabulous, isn't it? What a day. Thankfully, the good Lord himself has decided to part the clouds and have a look. He's heard it's so exciting, and it has been. Oh, goodness me. Well, a wave away, as you can see, of the camera bike, because I'm assuming that, like Sam Watson, etc., would like to get themselves established up front. That's Brent Dunmore, a man who almost made it home a few years ago, you might remember, and Mark Cavendish broke his heart and re-established his own winning ways to build up a huge margin. In fact, is now, of course, the record holder as far as stage wins in the Tour de France are concerned. How long that's going to last with Tadej Pogacar in his pomp is anybody's guess. Pogacar and the principal jersey, save for green, find themselves at a margin of 1:10, and it's 11 minutes and 13 back to the green jersey. As far as the play-ins are concerned, yes, there is a little series of buttons that they can press. And I've got to tell you as well, the signal that comes from the helicopter is actually silent. So even the helicopter sound is actually put on for us, just in case you're thinking maybe you're in a drone or something like that. But yeah, it's all just to help you believe. But yeah, quite often it's impossible from a helicopter to hear a cow baying, mooing. But we get that occasionally. But you know, it all adds to your comfort and enjoyment. And comfort is one thing that's been at a premium today. Horrible weather, thankfully dried out right now, which bodes well for some pretty forthright driving towards our finale today. We've got another significant climb, and that is the Côte de Tézy, and that is quite nasty, and it comes late on. And the way that they have ridden it so far, Luke, it's a bit scary considering the amount of fatigue that's going to be at the end of the day. Honestly, I thought today might be a bit of a parade. We've had anything but, haven't we?
Yeah, it's been full gas from kilometre zero. I think it's what we expected really. Tomorrow is a very specific stage where a very specific type of rider will end up winning. You know, a type of mini classic that we've spoken about. But today is quite open in terms of who can go in the breakaway. Mano a mano, the stronger guys have come to the fore. Here we see one of the drop groups containing, I think, quite a number of UAE riders. So this will be a big relief for Poggy.
Matt, it's been a bagatelle today. I've never quite known it, but as soon as I say I don't quite know, is Marc Soler as part of this group as well. Never quite know what's going to happen. Yesterday, I saw him off the back, and then all of a sudden he's up front. Here is your man that has been shredded. He's been across a cheese grater by the looks of him. Mauro Schmidt, the unluckiest of the riders so far, I think.
Yeah, he looks okay. He's obviously a bit banged up and has taken a bit of skin off, but yeah, it's a bit disappointing. I know this is probably Mauro's last chance to win a stage at the Tour, and he came ever so close, well, way back maybe 10, 12 days ago. But I think that the breakaway is really in the balance at the moment. It's slowly been edging out to 1:16. There is only a couple of teams with the intent to close it down. UNOX, Cofidis, probably the only ones really with numbers left in that chase group. And if they can't shut it down very, very soon, I think it'll be all over.
But Whitey, you know what they're doing here, like with Cofidis and UNOX, they're attacking each other and trying to continue to attack.
It's not the most efficient way to get it done.
As soon as the gap goes over 20, 30 seconds, the only way to close that gap, in my eyes, they have to talk. You give a guy, we give a guy, maybe two guys each. Yep. That's the only way they close it, right?
Yeah, otherwise they're just going to wear each other out, attacking each other, and then they'll stall and then go back out again, and then they'll just cook each other, and that'll be all she wrote.
Guys, I don't know whether you were mentioning it before I just came back from my own little break. Tim Wellens, he's in a right mood today. He's been given out to everybody, and quite frankly, who's he sharpening his knife upon?
Well, he's sharpening it for himself, I think. He's got some form in his back end of the race, and just some of the moves we've seen him do in the last couple of days, just closing gaps with ease. This is a great course for him, and now after all the work that they've done, he is now cooperating and joining in with the working of this group, and I think that's all she wrote. I think that breakaway looks very solid now. I said we've on one of the multi-screens we can see Cofidis chasing, but getting very little help anymore, and there's 13 other teams who are more than happy to get in the way of a concerted chase from behind.
How much do we need to worry about De Leon being cut off today? He's been completely isolated, it seems, for much of the early day. Some people were saying because of the way he's kind of woken up within this race, it looks like sleepy time maybe for these guys, at least for now, as we look at the yellow jersey group. Tadej Pogačar, almost father of that group, as you can see. Some in no man's land, and this is a long way back. This is De Leon now, 12 minutes and 26. Did Robbie McHugh do the maths for us for the cut-off today?
He didn't. But one thing I noticed there is Dali coming through at 12.5 minutes. I think he is only around a minute behind the Gruppetto. So that's going to have to be a big effort now for the Dali and his two teammates. It's not about thinking about the next 100K. It's a case of riding.
Getting to Milan as quick as possible
Way.
because Trek are not going to let Milan be eliminated.
I didn't know if you're referring to the Giro then.
just looking at Tadej Pogacar marking things out here. He wants this to settle down. I'm not surprised, fellas.
Yeah, he looks a bit. Tadej looks finally a little bit jaded with everything that's consumed him over the last 19 days, and enough's enough for him.
It's a burden, isn't it? He appeared that way yesterday when we were expecting him to engage in the final sprint, and I think in the end he quite frankly didn't fancy it. Just fatigue. It's bound to wash over everyone, even the very, very best.
Yeah, and I think for someone like Tadej as well, is people forget just the extra activities that he has to do day in, day out with anti-doping, with talking to the media. He would be arriving at the hotel 30 to 40 minutes later than his teammates. He wouldn't be going home in the bus. He'd be going home in another vehicle. And just the demand on someone in the yellow jersey. And even when he wasn't in the jersey for those very few days of the tour, everyone wants to talk to him. Everyone wants his attention. And it's not for everyone leading the Tour de France, but it is mentally, just as much mentally draining as physically for someone like him.
A pleasant burden, I think I've heard it described as in the past, because it obviously means that you're in a very, very good place. We are in a great place as well, with 99 kilometres of today remaining, a day that's been extraordinarily busy. Rather busy on the blower, just asking about what strategy they'd like to impose team-wise. Tadej Pogacar himself has actually been beaming back to base. He's doing it right now. I think he's hoping that this will settle down. What are we, 89 seconds only between the yellow jersey group and those out front. It's modest fare, Luke. You know, this could be bridged, but who's got the will to do it on a day like today with just one day to go?
Well, Cofidis clearly have the intent. I think now that Sam Watson has been brought back into the peloton, it's another team with firepower that would want this to come back together for another stage win in Ineos. But it's going to be a tricky one to bring back now. You see this front group really cooperating well. It's going to be a tough chase.
Just under 98 kilometres of the day remaining. It's only 90 seconds. And here's Caden Groves, a man who's been prodded and harangued. I think Picadors are supposed to annoy bulls by just, quite frankly, doing something rather cruel with little spears. I kind of wondered, to be honest, whether our Belgian champion was doing pretty much the same, just irking everyone and helping them to find a place of closure elsewhere, mentally at least. He's absolutely on it. So are all of these guys who find themselves in the front group. 13, unlucky for those who are not part of it. Jega thought he might be persuaded to exit. We've heard, of course, teams who are thinking about the threat to the top 10 sharing their views, and this is not nice. Another humble, I'm afraid, and this is getting all too frequent. This is Champollion. I'm actually wondering whether this is just fatigue, apart from anything. Again, unlucky to get away with it with a motorcycle. My life, that's not a nice picture.
No, he was. There was any braking involved there at all from Champollion. He just, like Mauro, he just hit a bit of a bald patch of road that was still damp, double wheel slide, and the biggest positive for the day for him, he didn't get run over by the motorbike.
Yeah, and like we were saying yesterday about the descent off one of the big climbs, I can't remember which one it was. The most dangerous point is where it's wet dry.
Yeah.
So now it's stopped raining. You can see the roads now are 90% dry. However, on the corners slightly before, there was still some wet patches. So he's going through a section there, wet, dry. You're never quite sure what to expect. You hit one wet section, and it's good night, Irene.
Yeah. Looks like a truce has finally been called in what's left of the Tour de France peloton.
It makes sense, quite frankly. It's all a bit silly, and as you say, with varying grip levels because of the rain that's washed through here. Thankfully, some of it's adhered to certain parts of the road surface. Some are more bald than others. That's life. But yes, thankfully, this looks like, at least for now, there's a hiatus in hostilities back here.
TNT Sports coverage of Tour de France is sponsored by Service Now.
TNT Sports, hello. It's guys vision, not normal. Tuesday and Wednesday nights aren't normal. Thursdays are wild too. Streets won't forget, not normal. Not normal levels for untraditional Big Six. These trolls weren't normal. Beth tethers aren't normal. Neither is 18 games at the same time. Normal is saying sport. With all these competitions.
When you invest with eToro, you start seeing investors everywhere.
You see, eToro really is everywhere. Invest anytime, anywhere with eToro.
We've been sold on the lie that the more we buy, the better we'll feel. Wake up. Health isn't a product, it's a practice. It's time to make choices that become habits that can change everything. Wake up. See what happens when the power is back in your hands. Welcome to the awakening.
It was the final stage of my first and last Tour de France. Even if I wasn't riding for the win, it felt like I had already won. As I climbed, memories came rushing back. The victories, the years of training, the fight to have women's cycling recognized. And when I crossed that finish line high up there, I knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a new era for women's cycling.
Skoda.
We are your confidence for the path ahead. Empowering every journey on 2 wheels or 4. At every stage, we are with Continental.
We are Imatra, the native digital accounting currency dedicated to cyclists. Download the Imatra app and earn with every kilometer. Imatra is Garmin connected.
TNT Sports, powered by Endura.
This coverage of the Tour de France is brought to you by Whoop.
Welcome back. Complexion of the day seems to have changed, but for how much longer? That's what we're asking ourselves. We've got a solid breakaway, 13 riders up the road. Actually, Trentin's in here, a man who on a wrestling day can indeed come to the fore, former European champion. Of course, Kate Groves is in here. Tim Wellens, who's been busy annoying everybody, it seems. There you go. Why not? Bit of full gas. I think that's supposed to be a throttle. We'll go with that. I do like Mathieu Trentin. He's a hell of a character. He's one of the nicest guys out there, but not somebody that, quite frankly, you'd perhaps like to be in a break. He's a clever rider, Luke Rowe.
Yeah, he gets the most out of himself. He's one of the more old school riders in the peloton. He was only recently did he change to the cockpit that was all in one. He quite like the traditional stem and handlebar combination. One of a bit of an old school guy, but like you say, a very very likable character. You name a classic, he's been top 10 in it, if not top 5 in it. And just a reliable guy. I think he's going to struggle today on this climb. 3.6k, 9%. I don't want to bang on about it like a broken record, but it is a tough climb. Well, it is a tough climb.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And
He
there's
used to be able to
guys-
take those though, didn't he? I mean, he did in the World's thing in Harrogate. It was horrible weather as well, and he was going up inclines pretty well.
Yeah, even in the stage he won in the Tour de France, he went solo on a climb and in the European Champions jersey. But I agree with Rowie. I think Mateus he gets into these sort of moves off his race sense, not his ability anymore. I think he's a very smart character. Will make a great sports director in the future. But in the field that he's in the group that he's in, he's a lot of things are going to have to go right this afternoon for him to be standing on the top of the victory podium.
And there's too many climbing thoroughbreds in this group. They're going to say, that's our opportunity, that's our launch pad to at least split this group of 13 into two halves.
Yeah.
Just listening in, is he asking about the gap?
He was asking if his team car was there.
Yeah, the team cars probably haven't had too much of a chance to get across. They're probably on their way. But as you can see in the breakaway, everyone's looking into their back pockets. They've had a big, 90 kilometres making the break, and now it's time for refueling before they get to the next feed zone, or they can call team cars up.
So difficult, isn't it, at the sort of pace we've got to take a feed? Well, while we've got a brief hiatus here, John, I suspect we haven't had a chance to get to your recipe today either, because it's been kicking off. So while things are as they are, what have you got for us today in the lunchbox?
I've done one of your favourites, Carlton, creme brulee. No, classy croutons, as in creme brulee, a proper dessert. Yesterday was again. I mean, the racing's been so frenetic in the last couple of weeks. It's been quite tricky to get across, and they're still on target to be the quickest Tour de France ever raced. I think at the moment the average speed today over 46 kilometres an hour. We just saw on the screen. It is absolutely extraordinary. Creme brulee. The recipe very simple. Just need some milk, single cream, some vanilla pods, which are becoming almost as expensive as saffron, but stick with it. Caster sugar. Lots of egg yolks and some brown sugar, and then it's just a question of making a very good custard, then baking that very gently in your oven with the ramekins in some water, but not submerged underwater, obviously, and then chill those for about 3 to 4 hours before putting brown sugar on top, and then whacking those on a very hot grill, or if you happen to have a blowtorch in your kitchen, use a blowtorch. That gets a very good effect. And then you do need to do the tap test. I've had lots of people writing into me about the tap test. You need to make sure that you tap the top of the creme brulee and it makes a good tapping noise. It doesn't break through easily, and that gives you the exact correct creme brulee. Lots of vanilla. It needs to be lots of vanilla seed in it to make it delicious. I've said enjoy with a glass of Sauterne. That isn't from this region. This region is actually renowned for vin jaune, which is something I still haven't sampled, mostly due to the fact that the cheapest bottle of vin jaune, I think, comes in at around £250. So not yet. I mean, if anyone wants to gift me one, then I'll happily try it.
Not going to happen, John.
No, I don't think that. It's like the Chateau Petrus shout out I did. That recipe, along with all of yesterday's recipe, which was a sort of raclette tomato type appetizer, can be found on Instagram at JHB Foodie Cyclist, along with all of the recipes from this year's tour. Just one more to go in Paris tomorrow, and you have to wait and see what that is.
John, failing to mention, of course, thank you, John, that creme brulee was actually invented in Trinity College, Cambridge. I thought you would have been up there with that one, John.
You see, I actually did some research the last time you said about this, and it's a very argued fact between the French and Trinity College, Cambridge.
Because they just don't want to give it away. Right? Yeah. Not even that one little thing. Okay? There you go.
I'd like to think it's French, personally.
John Harris-Bass with spectacular injects as far as our coverage is concerned of the Tour de France and other events as well. It's always great to hear from him. And we do like a little bit of a culinary wrestle, John and I. I think he won that one. Anyway, 88.3 kilometres for home. Guys, it looks like we are in a holding pattern, at least for now.
Yeah, the only bit of resistance is coming from a very brave Mauro Schmidt, who has taken a tough, hard crash. But it looks like Matt Hayman's ordered him back to the front of the bunch. And I'm surprising that he's actually keeping this group at that distance that he is. It's not blowing out at all. He's getting zero help from anybody else. And Ben O'Connor will be getting drinks for Mauro Schmidt tomorrow night at the finish of the Tour de France, the way he's going at the moment.
It's amazing, actually, when you get called on. I mean, presumably, Luke, they asked him how he was feeling, but he was clearly up for being a driving force of the day. And right now, he's on other duties, possibly not to help himself, but I guess you have to rejig your strategy. But what an amazing ride as well, that post-tumble, he's able to offer up something in terms of horsepower.
Yeah, he's pure sacrifice mode now. Yeah. Got a bit of a flag stuck on his front wheel there, old mate. But he's in pure sacrifice mode. You've seen the ambition at the start of the stage from Schmidt. He was full gas for the breakaway to try and collect the stage win. Me and Whitey picked him for the win this morning. That's not going so well. But he's just trying to salvage the top 10 of Ben O'Connor, and he's got 4:08 to play with back to Jiguet. He's lost 2:13 of that already. Actually, I back this decision by Jayco. My question would be, what else are they supposed to do? They've missed the break. They've raced for 19 and a half long days to get in the position where Ben O'Connor is top 10. Points mean prizes mean points as well. Let's not forget that. They've got to try and just keep it to a minimum. They haven't got the numbers. I believe Mauro Schmidt is actually the only teammate that Ben O'Connor's got. So my question would be, is when he's done, what happens then?
Yeah, the only thing I can think, Rowie, is that he rides until the base of the climb, and maybe even puts him in a bit of a surge to get it, say, to 140, something like that, at the base of the climb, in the hope that there's some other teams that have the interest of kicking it off on this climb. Because, as we spoke earlier, this climb is pretty brutal. And if it was 1.5, 145, an AG2R, a Uno X, someone else who's missed it, kicks it off, that break could come down considerably.
And we've seen that teams aren't happy with the situation. Uno X are not happy.
Cofidis
Ineos will not be happy. Cofidis will not be happy. So what Mauro Schmidt, what I was saying here is, if you can keep it close where the race is still in contention, you hit the climb, maybe there's an acceleration on the climb, you get to the top, it's a minute and a half, and suddenly your team goes, it's there for the taking.
Yep. Mauro is not going to be able to ride for 86 more kilometres and keep this in check. This is not going to happen. So I think that would be the plan there from Matt Hayman there, just to encourage Mauro to give it everything he's got, even under the circumstances, and even to try to lower that gap slightly as we approach the hardest climb of the day,
which is in 20 kilometres.
That's doable. For someone like Mauro, he is the beast. That's doable to sit on the front for 20k, and these guys have settled in to a regular routine here. They're not really pushing hard 86 kilometres out. Still feeding, still getting everything sorted after an aggressive, very, very aggressive first 90k. So I think that would be the plan from Jayco AlUla, and the second part of the plan is out of their hands.
And you can guarantee of these 13 riders, you've got 13 DSs saying the same thing, which is do as much work as the person who's doing the least.
Yeah.
Got that gap. It's established, and they're all saying do minimum, think of the final, refuel, try and flick the odd turn if you can, which is why on top of the fact that Schmidt is doing a great job, it's why you see the gap not go out even more than it already is.
I love the fact that Luke Rowe is saying now how annoying this is. But of course, it's necessary. You've come the other side of it. You're now inside the car effectively these days, Luke, and now it's your duty to issue those rather annoying statements, constant reminders that you need to refuel out there.
Eat, drink, and spin the legs. That's DSM 101, right?
Yep.
Yeah. We've had a great day today. In terms of the drama, finally, the sun has come out. The fans have come out as well. And Hannah is indeed waiting for us on the Côte de Pénil.
This climb, as the riders approach into it, they make a sharp right-hand turn, and then immediately the gradients are at 10, 11%. It's so difficult. However, I love it. Absolutely love it. He's not in the peloton anymore, but he's still one of the favourite riders of the French fans. In his own region, don't forget, we're close to his home. Wonderful.
Anna Walker seems to be able to find the hot ticket to all the best parties. I don't know how she does it. Axel Rance, I'm afraid, has had a ticket to ride today, but finds himself kilometres of the day remaining. Well, a little bit of a plateau at the moment. It's got some dragginess about it. And then we'll go down into a valley before we kick up to what should be a massive action point for our breakaway. 13 riders. How cohesive are they going to stay by the end of today? What do you reckon?
I think this breakaway, when they hit the line in around, 18k from now, it's going to be fireworks, and that front group of 13 will explode. That's the launch pad. There's 11th place in GC and the Tour de France in this breakaway. There's Matteo Jorgensen. Some of these guys are world-class climbers, and that's their opportunity to split that group of 13 in half or even more selected than I've got. Like Tim Wellens, you've got some great climbers in there, and they're going to want to get rid of Caden Groves, the Matteo Trenti, Jake Stewart. Let's get rid of the faster guys, and then we can kick on with less riders. The only thing I'd say, I don't think it's over for the peloton. It's 2 minutes. Mara Smith's going to ride a TT.
You're an incredible job here. Look at the great job stretching the bunch out here.
I mean, what sort of place do you put yourself mentally when you're in Mara Smith's Romania? I know Luke said it's just in suicide mode at the moment. He's doing a fabulous job there. And this is what impresses the hell out of me at riders, is the level of sacrifice. There's always a day winner, and there's an entire team behind it. Schmitz just transferred from doing it for himself to doing it for everybody else.
Yeah, I think back in the team car, they would have viewed him, the finish line is the base of the climb, and yeah, give us all you got, Maro, and he certainly is.
So another 83 kilometres to go then, and we're on a decent boat, as you can see, looking really delayed, that can have its own issues. John, we've seen various on Arch. It's almost cruel just to hold on this one because we've seen some belters today, particularly from Dexter's use of Runway. This is a step down, something that's vintage.
The Lawnway was fantastic. There was one moment beforehand where clearly lots of people had been due to be on the homage, and the rain had started tipping down, and they'd been left with about 5. And so it looked really unimpressive. That particular one staked it to the ground again, probably just heard about the weather coming in and just went, well, we'll just put out a big pace then. But I feel that there's been less field art at this year's tour, or we've seen less field art.
I agree with you entirely. In fact, some of the modest stuff is actually leading the ranking at the moment. We usually get one absolute belter, don't we? A little bit late on. Somebody's face sort of carved into a hillside. We get that. So will Mara Schmidt, but at the moment he's carrying what looks like some pretty painful burgers on his legs. He's going to feel that tomorrow. He might have another dig tomorrow. There's a few that really wanted to make a statement today on. If you thought this was going to be something of a parade, breakaway goes up the road, everyone else has a bit of a ride in. Quite unusual, really, for an ultimate day of the Tour de France. It's turned out to be absolutely drama-packed. 2,914 metres of altitude gained today. So, virtually no flat lands. And it's absolutely glorious, the terrain that we are playing with. It's had a massive impact, I imagine, on some. Tadej Pogačar, yesterday looked like he was really feeling the fatigue. I don't know whether it was just gamesmanship, a little bit of mental mind game going on between himself and Jonas Vingegaard, They didn't close down Aronsman. He couldn't believe it himself. He held his head in his hands and shook his head as he crossed the line, basically telling everybody that he couldn't believe it as well. Great for the Dutch, and of course they got Ecorn and Van den Broek as well up the road as today. By a margin of 2 minutes, will it hold on? We're not sure. 2 minutes is bridgeable with 81.3 kilometres to go. I feel though, Matt, it would be cruel if they did actually kill off this breakaway. And of course, then all hell would break loose. But if it's going to happen, it'll be on our climbers just to come.
Yeah, that's the only scenario that could evolve with this breakaway coming back. And as I said, Mara's done a great job, and we'll continue on for another 15 to 20 minutes.
Well, thankfully, the winter has actually come to bless us. Didn't see anybody really. I saw stowed rain jackets in the back pocket of Lenny Martinez. King of Mountains competition, as the polka dots will be on the shoulders of the man who wears yellow. I think many were pleased that the green. Looking back at Schmidt going down here, I feel that we're going to be dwelling on perhaps more than just his tumble today, but they are power on the back. Got to be careful where you pass him, to be honest. He's shredded there.
Walt was taking the leftovers of his numbers off for him, and a pat on the back at the same time. Actually, one thing I have noticed today, and it's the first time I've ever seen it in his career, is I'm not sure if Simon Yates lost a bet with Victor Carter today. I've never seen him wear an aero helmet ever. And on a stage like today, it's certainly grabbed my attention. Seeing Simon there with an aero helmet sitting in third wheel.
So maybe it's the only one left at the end of the day. At the beginning of the day, who knows?
I know he has been holding out on the nose applicators there as well, Simon. I think the rest of Visma are big on the breathing app to help them open their airways, but Simon's also holding strong with that one.
I only think it's fashion, but then again, if you are sponsored, you get on with it and do it, eh?
Yeah, well, it's not the first time we've seen them. It's a bit of a come full circle. They were quite big 15, 20 years ago.
What about the asymmetric chainring? That disappeared. It had some real adherence. I mean, Froome, of course, as you know, Luke, was I think the last to give it up.
Yeah, it seems so. I know they were a nightmare to work with. The mechanics hated them. There was always such high risk of them jumping off. Losing the chain at the front. You have to be really delicate with the way you change. Really back off the pedals. A number of times, lose the chain at the front, and it would get caught up. See a nice little argument here in the breakaway. Love that. After 20 days, tempers flaring. And I don't think there's any riders left with them. I think you're right. I think Kuhnberg was the last.
The one thing that I couldn't get my head around there, Rowie, is I'm not a sports scientist, is I get the concept of taking the sweet spot out of the stroke when you seek it. Then I used to see someone like Greg Henderson use them as well as a sprinter. Yeah. Now, when you're not sprinting in the seat, so I just couldn't get my head around that one. So yeah, for someone like Froome, and we go use them for a period there. I get taking that dead spot out of the stroke, but as a sprinter, you've got a totally different action. And then when you're trying to win the bike race, it's out of the seat, so it's another action again. So I didn't get that.
I mean, I rode them a couple of times, and that was just jumping on one of the lads' bikes just to give it a whirl, just to say, what are these all about? And I think it would take so much training to get used to the sensations of the feels of it. Because as soon as you jump on, it feels completely alien. And that's even more so when you get up the sub. When you get up the sub, you feel like you're on a fucking Bronco. It just feels completely wrong. So, yeah, from a sprinter's point of view, it never really made sense to me.
And it didn't catch on with the sprinters.
As the fashions that come and the fashions that go. Of course, even Chris Froome gave up the asymmetric.
DAG Sports coverage of Tour de France is sponsored service now.
DAG Sports,
It's the real deal.
We're expanding to a bigger unit. It's all really scary. So come along for a ride.
Brand new Vodafone
trainers. Slip on, ready to ride, and ready to do it.
When you invest with eToro, you start seeing investors everywhere.
eToro really is everywhere. Invest anywhere. Audiobook is here, now more advanced than ever. Unlock sleep, strain, recovery insights. Understand how daily habits connect to your long-term health with HealthNet. See trend-specific psychophysics and activities of natural life, so your data never stops and neither do you. Power your best performance with memberships made for every goal. Join Whoop today.
It was the final stage of my first and last Tour de France. Even if I wasn't riding for the win, it felt like I had already won. As I climbed, memories came rushing back. The victories, the years of training, the fight to win Saki. And when I crossed that finish line high up there, I knew this wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of a new era for women's cycling.
We are very confident. Perfect. Power the energy onto every stage.